As a child, I remember feeling like an outsider in my own family, where they were loved around me, guided and supported by their parents, and I just watched my parents ignore me, and my needs like they didn't exist. Hey guys, I'm Timothy, or Tim, if you will. I'm 27. I'm here to share my story because there's something my girlfriend said recently, and it turns out to be true. My whole existence is in question. So let me start from the get-go. As far as I can remember, I've never been loved by my parents. Now, I know that at some point all children feel this way. However, this conclusion isn't just based on some incident where they refused to buy me my favorite bike or grounded me for being out late to a party. No, I simply was not cared for as a human, let alone a kid. The thing is, I was not the healthiest child growing up. For some reason, I've always had a weak immune system and got sick very easily. As far as I can remember, naturally, I was a hassle for my parents, and my health issues meant constant doctor visits, medication, sleepless nights filled with worry. They tried to take care of me for a while. They must have loved me at some point. Not that I remember. However, as the years went on, my health issues remained the same, and their love and patience both came to an end. It was like they were running on empty, trying to keep up with their demands of caring for a sick child while still holding their own lives together. I remember times when my mom would snap at me for coughing too loudly, or my dad would sigh in frustration when I could not go out and play with the other kids. Soon as I was the sole cause of their misery, they tried very little to hide it from me. As a kid, that used to hurt, But I soon grew accustomed to such treatment and worse. I remember one day when they let me alone at home and went out to watch a movie or something, and it was late at night and I woke up struggling to breathe because of my sinuses. I called out to my parents, but they weren't there. I felt scared and alone, so I called for help and the ambulance came to take me to the hospital. But when they came back, instead of saying sorry, they acted like it was no big deal and were even mad at me for making a big deal about nothing and how they had now a hospital bill they have to handle. My parents were not the well-to-do kind, and I understand how bills could be an issue for them. However, no one can defend making me do all the household chores at the age of 9 while I was sick, because they had to pay for my hospital visits and wanted to get back their money's worth. Or how on a supposed family trip we took when I was 10, they ignored me altogether. I was excited about exploring new places, but my sickness started acting up, and I struggled to keep up with them. Instead of slowing down to accommodate my needs, my parents were busy with their phones and posting pictures of the great views of their wall. I felt invisible, left out. I spent most of the trip sick and alone in a motel room while they were out enjoying the views of the great city. Then there was also my 11th birthday. Like any other child, I was excited to celebrate with my family and friends. But when the day came, my parents forgot all about it. I waited and waited, hoping that they would remember, but they simply didn't. Just as I turned 16, I asked somebody to go find a job and give me a share of the expenses at home, which clearly was supposed to be more since I had all of these extra medical expenses. They conveniently seemed to forget that I had been taking care of all household chores for the past 7 years. And apart from my medicines, they barely even gave me 3 full meals. So yeah, my childhood was not exactly sunshine and rainbows. It was filled with doctor appointments, missed school calls, and constant sense of guilt for being such a burden on my parents. Anyways, I guess this gives you a gist about my life, and you can clearly understand why I desperately looked for a college far away and moved out of the house as soon as I turned 18. I was, of course, called selfish, along with many colorful names. And when I told them, in the end they agreed that I would send them money every month since I would not be taking care of household chores anymore. I was happy just to get away from them. So I agreed, and it's been 5 years, and I still send them money on the 3rd of each month. That's like the only time of the month when they bother to call me. It's like I've been paying the price of them bringing me into this world, which clearly has not been a picnic. The only good thing about my life is my girlfriend, Misha. Oh, Misha. Misha and I met 2 years ago after I had moved out. She was in the same college as me, my junior, actually. Misha. She offered me one thing and I've never experienced before, and it was kindness. She was intelligent, ambitious, and fiercely passionate about making a difference in this world. Yet she has some kind of compassion, so something about her comforted me, and we quickly became friends, even though we only liked 1 or 2 classes together since she was a law student and I was studying business. She had been there for me, Nobody else ever been. The surprising part was that she never made me feel like taking care of me when I was sick was a burden. Even if it was, she hid it well. It took me a while to open up to her about my childhood, my parents, and everything in between, but once I did, which by the way, was recently, I was shocked to know how compassionate that was and how easily she was able to understand the situation. However, the conclusion she reached seems a bit far-fetched. She had met my parents one time. The whole meeting was a different level of embarrassment for me. We went on a Sunday morning during our summer break, and my parents greeted us with a fake smile. These awkward little hugs, and I could tell that Misha's picking up on the weird vibe. You believe it when I say this, they bombarded her with questions about her job, her family, her hobbies. When they were satisfied that Misha came from a well-to-do background, they started dropping these hints about money, how expensive it was to take care of me, and how much my medical bills and cost of them were over the years. Like it was her fault or responsibility in any way. At first, I only thought that they were making things awkward by hinting at her, having to help them financially, but no, they just became shameless and asked her if she could spare a few dollars to help out with the bills. I had never, ever been more embarrassed, and at the moment, all I wished for was a hole where I could crawl in and disappear. I cut them off by offering them the monthly due, made some excuses, and left with Misha. Anywho, Misha's a good person when it comes to reading people. I guess it's only natural since she was aspiring to be a lawyer. But when she suggested that she reached the conclusion based on what she witnessed at my home, I could not say very much. Naturally, when she suggested it, I brushed the idea off the shoulder. There's no way it can be true. Even if my parents didn't love me, like most parents love their children, they are my parents. Why else would they put up with me all these years? You see, Misha suggested that there could possibly be a possibility that I may not be their own child. I took it as a joke in front of her and dismissed the topic, and the problem is that, for some reason, the idea is just stuck in this head of mine. No matter how hard I try, I'm not able to shake it. I never even considered this. Sure, I don't look anything like my parents or have any pictures from the time of my birth, but I just always assumed that they did not care enough to take any pictures, and not every child looks like their parent, Do they? Even if they aren't the best, they are the only family I know. And even if it were to be true, where is my real family? Where have they been all these years? Are they alive? What am I even supposed to do with these people? Did they not want me? My mind will explode from thinking about it. Ugh! What do you guys suggest? Should I consider investigating? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. Today we have a mystery on our hands. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I do have 2 comments. Well, these comments are not really on the same boat. Let's check out the first one from Lara DAO1. Wow, Tim, my heart goes out to you after reading your story. It's clear that you've been through a lot. I just wanted to say I admire your courage in sharing your story. It takes guts to open up about your past, especially when it's not all rainbows and sunshine. I'm glad you have someone like Misha by your side to support you. You deserve to find out the truth about your family, and I hope you're able to get the closure you need. Whatever that may entail, anywho, hang in there. Comment number 2 comes from Casper A599. Dude, seriously? Stop playing the victim. Get over yourself. So, yeah, what? Your parents aren't perfect? Welcome to reality. Life's tough, but you don't see everybody crying about it. And seriously, questioning whether you're even their real child? Ridiculous. You're probably just overthinking things because you're sensitive. And as for Misha, She sounds like she's just enabling your little pity party. It's time you grew up and take control of your life, instead of blaming others for your problems. Guys, let me know what you think of those two comments, and if you want to add a little info down below, go ahead and do it. But don't forget to subscribe for daily animated stories, and let's jump into the first update. Update number 1. Hey guys, I didn't expect such a huge engagement on my post, so thank you so much for your suggestions and kind comments. Many of you suggested that there's no harm in at least investigating, and if my girlfriend's hunch turns out to be true, I'll still be stuck with the same neglectful parents, but all in all, there was nothing to lose, and I do agree. You know, with Misha by my side, I began to investigate. We dug through old photos and documents trying to find any clues about my past. It was like searching for a needle in the haystack, but we didn't give up. But it was all for nothing. Next, I decided to ask my parents straight up. However, they didn't say anything. Instead, blamed me for trying to abandon them just to save a bit of money. God bless these people and their obsession with money. I looked for birth records. I thought that requesting access to my birth certificate or adoption records could help and hold important information about my biological parents' standings, and of course any legal stuff about my adoption. Meanwhile, Misha decided to contact adoption agencies. She reached out to multiple agencies or social service groups to see if any baby named Timothy was put up for adoption around 25 years ago. It wasn't easy, to say the least, but hey, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to know the truth. However, it came out. We both stumbled upon it on the same day, and I could not accept the truth at first. According to what I found, I was the twin son of Mr. and Mrs. Grayson. I had heard about the Graysons. I mean, everybody had. They own the biggest food chain in our town, and they live upstate. I mean, they're known to be loaded. How can I be their child? It must be a mistake, but no matter how many times I recheck, that's where my investigation leads me. Thankfully, like always, Misha was with me, and I decided to find my real family and ask them why they gave me up. Since I'd already come so far, I decided to go through it completely and learn the truth, no matter how bitter it may be. But, as the heavens would have it, I picked the worst day possible to go meet them, and get this. I showed up at their house, nervous and excited, ready to finally meet the people who gave me birth. But as soon as I got there, I knew something was off. There were people everywhere, dressed in black, and I soon realized why. It was my biological father's funeral. I felt like such an idiot, crashing their family gathering on such a sad day. I didn't know what to do, whether to turn about or leave or try to talk to someone. I decided to stay. But I couldn't bring myself to approach my family. Instead, I ended up talking to one of the helpers and asking about the cause of my biological father's death. He was quite the talker. He told me how my father had died of a heart attack because of some argument that he had with my twin brother. Then he proceeded with a few other gossips, but I couldn't believe what he finally revealed. He proceeded to tell me how the young master had a twin brother, but he was born weak. The doctor said that he may not live past the age of 10, even the baby was properly taken care of. It was clear that the child would be too much of a hassle and would be fit to inherit the master's wealth. So they gave the baby up for adoption. The maximum that they did for that baby was that whichever couple would adopt the baby would receive a lump sum of $25,000 along with me. Granted that they would have to take care of me for as long as the baby lived. Can you believe that? I was the weak baby they didn't want. They gave me up like I was a can of tuna. I was nothing to him. I just turned around and left. How stupid have I been? What was I expecting? Will the family be happy to see me? The truth hurts more than I expected. The realization that the reason my adoptive parents even took me in the first place was for the money. It doesn't make things much easier. I should have never gone there in the first place, and I don't know what to think anymore. I guess I'll simply go back to my life, pretending that I have not just learned that I was neither wanted by my real parents or my adoptive parents. So let me ask you guys this, what do you think? Update number 2. Don't forget to subscribe. Hello everyone. It's been 3 weeks since I've last updated, but I didn't think that I would be posting again at all. considering how things ended last time, but hey, yesterday something happened across my desk and made me come back here. Let me pick up from where we left. After I learned the complete truth, I decided I no longer wanted to cry over a life that I never had. So I went back to my regular days, trying to bury myself in my studies and work, and I thought I could just forget about everything I'd learned and moved on, but it wasn't that easy. The truth kept haunting me, and I started having nightmares. My girlfriend started to get really worried about me and planned a weekend getaway for the both of us. It really helped me a lot, and my girlfriend was extra loving and spoiled me a lot. So that helped. The getaway helped me clear my mind and realize that even if it wasn't lucky in the parent department, I definitely had the best partner with me, and that makes up for everything. Things were slowly but steadily getting back on track until yesterday. Yesterday, out of the blue, there was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anybody, so I was a bit surprised when I opened up to find a strange woman standing there. She was looking at me with tears in her eyes and called me her son before pulling me in for a tight hug. I was totally caught off guard, but I understood this situation. I played along. Not wanting to upset her, she started telling me all about how I was her twin baby. I was born weak and sick with a disease they knew nothing of. She further told me how the doctors had told them to leave me in their care so I could have a chance to live. I was just standing there listening to her utter words, and I welcomed her in and asked if this was the case and why they didn't just at least keep me in touch. To which this woman replied that after about, 2 weeks, she was informed that the child did not survive and started crying. Her side of the story came as a huge shock to me, but despite the shock, there was a part of me that I felt relieved. Like I finally had the answers I've been searching for in this lifetime. So I welcomed her embrace, and happy to have my mother back in my life, we talked for hours, catching up on old times that we lost. But there was something that just didn't sit right with me. Every time I mentioned my father or my siblings, she would quickly change the subject. At first I thought that she was just too upset about my dad's death to talk about it, but as the time went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. It was like she was hiding something from me, avoiding any mention of my other family members. Am I reading too much between the lines, or is she really hiding something? What do you guys think? Please, do let me know. Update number 3. Oh boy, things are about to go down. Hey guys, yeah, it's been a few weeks. I don't know what I did to deserve such a scheming person from my own blood. I feel like pulling my hair out of my head, and if somebody in between the updates, you just feel like I'm not making any sense right now. Ignore it and try to understand that the part is probably not making any sense to me either. Let me tell you what happened. Remember how last time I was happy to have my bio mother with me, even though something felt off? Well, it had been a week since the day that she showed up at my door and had been living with me, avoiding any conversation about my father or twin brother at all. Considering that she had just lost her husband, I didn't push her much. However, today, around 10 in the morning, I received a call from an anonymous caller, asking me to meet up if I wanted to know the truth about my family. Now, I gotta admit, I was curious as heck. I mean, who wouldn't be, right? So, despite my better judgment, I agreed to meet this mystery caller at the suggested cafe and find out what they had to say. Well, guess who was waiting for me? It was my twin brother. He seemed genuinely happy to see me, which was a big ol' relief. I mean, I was kinda nervous about meeting him, but he gave me this big ol' hug like we were long-lost buddies or something. And let me tell you, it felt pretty darn good to finally meet my bro. He said that he was happy to see me alive and well. Alive? This got me thinking maybe my bio mother was telling the truth. However, he got serious the next moment and asked if my mother was living with me. When I said yes, his face fell. There was this look of disappointment. I asked him what's wrong, and he opened his phone and showed me a recording. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at, but then it hit me. It was a recording from their house, and I could see my bio mother, late bio father, and twin brother in the recordings. They were arguing about something. No, they were arguing about me. He had asked them about me and how that they could, just given his brother up. It turns out that my mother has been lying to me this whole time. My bio parents had not given me up because I was sick or weak. They had given me up because they thought that I would be a not good heir. to the entire property. Can you believe that? They were more concerned about their money than they were about their own flesh and blood. I felt sick to my stomach. My brother comforted me and explained everything. How our parents had groomed him his whole life to take over the family business. How they had treated him like some kind of project instead of a child. He further told me how they all care about is money and social status. No relations mean anything to them in front of it. It was like a punch to the gut, realizing that even my biological parents were greedy, despite all the wealth that they had. Thankfully, my bio father had not foreseen this breakout in the family and had left everything to his son, Robert. Sadly, our bio father died, but Robert didn't forgive either of them for what they had done to him, and he asked my mother to leave the house, which is why she's been living with me. After hearing all this, suddenly my adoptive parents did not seem so bad. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was right there in front of me. My brother showed me the recordings of him confronting our parents about me. And it was like a slap in the face. They didn't even try to deny it. They just admitted straight up that they had given me up because I wasn't good enough for them. Honestly, I'm grateful to my brother for showing me the truth. I might have gone my whole life believing their lies. However, now the question is, what do I do about lying, greedy women at the house who call herself my mom? Any suggestions, please? That would be great. Final updates. Hey guys, I know it's been only a day since I last posted, but it's time to end this chaotic chapter of my life. So this will be my last update. However, before I begin with this update, I want to thank each and every one of you for your tremendous support throughout this crazy journey. Honestly, this post and my girlfriend are the only two things that kept me sane through these insane times and changes in my life. Many of you suggested I cut ties with not one but both of the parents, as they're greedy liars and birds of the same feather always. Well, you get it. Yesterday, after meeting my brother, I want to meet my adoptive parents and told them all I found out about them. Not the part about how my real family gave me up too, but how I knew they were not my real parents and how they adopted me for a mere 25,000 racks. After a few arguments back and forth, I announced that I would no longer be providing them with any money and asked them to never contact me again. They already ruined my life as much as they could, and I don't need them in my life anymore. After that, I went home. My biological mother was not at home, and I knew exactly what I had to do. I gathered up all her stuff, her clothes, her phone, her photo, her everything. I threw it out of the house, and it felt damn good, you know? I felt like I was finally taking back control of my life and standing up for myself in a way that I never have before. But then, just when I thought I was done with her for good, she shows up at the door furious and demanding to know what's going on. So I looked her straight up and down, and my eyes met her eyes, and I told her the truth. That she wasn't fit to be my mom, and I never wanted to see her again, and I slammed the door in her face. Satisfaction is what it was, which is what I was feeling, but I knew it was the right thing to do for my own sanity and well-being. I spent the night with my girlfriend's place as I couldn't bear to be alone with my thoughts, and guess what? This morning I asked her to move in with me. She said yes. She is my shore and my only constant in this facade of fake relationships we call Earth. Anyways, that's it, guys. See ya. Top comment. Ugh, seriously? This whole sob story reeks of attention-seeking drama, says Margaret _003. Like, you're the only one who's ever had a tough childhood. Hey, newsflash, buddy. Tim. Life isn't fair for anyone. First, your childhood sounds rough. Okay, cool, we get it. But blaming your parents for everything, don't you think that's a bit much? And then meeting your bio mom out of the blue, that's like something out of a soap opera, dude. But the real kicker is finding out that she lied to you. It's like drama follows you wherever you go. And now you're cutting ties with your mother? Oh yeah, classy move. Slamming the door in her face, real mature. Maybe instead of playing the victim, you should focus on being a decent human being. But hey, I guess that's too much to ask from somebody like you.